So there are 5 reasons to retire, even if you feel like you can't afford it. Now I know, right away some people are going to hear that and say, that doesn't make any sense. Because for most of our lives, we've been told the opposite. Work longer, save more, delay retirement until everything is perfectly lined up. And I believed that too for a long time. But here's the thing. I've seen people wait and wait and wait, trying to get everything just right financially. And in the process, they gave up something they didn't even realize they were losing: time, energy, health, freedom. And I learned a couple of these lessons the hard way, and I don't want you to go through that same kind of regret. Now, just to be clear, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to be reckless or ignore your situation. What I am saying is there are some realities about life after a certain age that don't show up on a spreadsheet. So let's jump in, and I'll share my list. The first one is something that most people underestimate, and that is your time and energy are not unlimited. Now, when you're in your 30s or 40s, you kind of feel like you can just keep going. You can work long hours, push through stress, deal with difficult people, and still have enough left over for your life outside of work. But as you get closer to your 50s, 60s, and beyond, something shifts. It's not that you can't work hard anymore. It's that the cost of doing it starts to go up. You feel it more. You recover slower. The stress sticks with you longer. And I've seen people stay in jobs they don't enjoy for just a few more years, and those few years turn into 5, then 10. And during that time, their energy slowly drains. They don't travel like they planned. They don't spend as much time with family. They don't pursue the things they said they would when they finally retire. And then when retirement finally comes, they don't have the same level of energy to enjoy it. So one of the biggest reasons to consider retiring, even if the numbers aren't perfect, is to protect your time and your energy while you can still use them the way you want. Because money can be managed. Time can't. All right, let's keep going. The second one is your health. Now, this one is closely connected, but it deserves its own space because it's that important. I've seen people who were in decent shape in their late 50s, early 60s, and they kept pushing themselves in stressful jobs, long hours, high-pressure environments, and their health started to decline. Maybe it's blood pressure, maybe it's sleep issues, maybe it's something more serious. And they tell themselves, I'll deal with it later. I just need to get through these next couple of years. But here's the problem. Health doesn't always wait. And once it starts to go in the wrong direction, it's not always easy to get it back. Retiring, even if it means adjusting your lifestyle, can give you something that's incredibly valuable: the space to take care of yourself, to exercise more, to eat better, to reduce stress, to actually pay attention to your body instead of pushing through it. And I'm not saying retirement magically fixes everything, but it gives you the opportunity to prioritize your health in a way that's very hard to do when you're constantly working. And if you ask people later in life what they value most, it's not their bank balance, it's how they feel. Okay, number 3, and this is one that a lot of people don't think about enough, and that is time with the people you care about. Now, this one can be a little emotional because it's real. As you get older, your relationships change. Your kids grow up. Your friends move away or get busy with their own lives. Your parents, well, they get older too. And the window to spend meaningful time with people doesn't stay open forever. I've talked to people who said, I wish I had retired earlier so I could have spent more time with my parents, or I wish I had been more present with my kids before they moved out. And those are not regrets you can fix later, because once that time passes, it passes. So when you're thinking about retirement purely in financial terms, you might be missing a huge part of the picture, because retiring, even a little earlier than planned, can give you something that money can't buy: more moments, more conversations, more memories. And those things, they matter more than people realize until it's too late. All right, let's move on. Number 4 is something that I think is really overlooked, and that is reclaiming control over your life. When you're working full-time, especially in a demanding job, a lot of your life is scheduled for you. You wake up at a certain time, you go to work, you deal with whatever comes your way. Your time is structured around meetings, deadlines, responsibilities. And even if you like your job, there's still a level of control that you've given up. Now, some people are okay with that, but others, they start to feel it more and more as they get older. They start to think, is this really how I want to spend the majority of my days? And that feeling doesn't go away by itself. Retirement,
even if it's not financially perfect, can give you something incredibly valuable: your time back. The ability to decide how you spend your day, when you wake up, what you focus on, who you spend time with. And that level of control, it changes how you experience life. Now, it doesn't mean you stop being productive. In fact, a lot of people become more productive in ways that actually matter to them. They volunteer, they start small projects, they learn new skills, they invest time in things they actually care about. But the difference is, it's on their terms. And after decades of working on someone else's schedule, that freedom can be worth more than people expect. Now, we've covered 4, and the last one, in my opinion, might be the most important of all because it ties everything together, and it's something I've seen over and over again. But I'm going to pause right here so you can really take in these first 4, because each one of these can completely change how you think about retirement.
All right, let's finish this the right way. Because this last one, this is the one that really brings everything together. We've talked about time and energy, your health, your relationships, and taking back control of your life. Now, number 5, and this is a big one, and that is avoiding the regret of waiting too long. Now, this is something that doesn't show up when you're making the decision. It doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. It doesn't show up in your retirement calculator. It shows up later, and I've seen it more times than I can count. People who said, "I'll just work a few more years. I just want to feel a little more secure. I'll retire when everything is perfectly lined up." And again, that sounds reasonable. It sounds responsible. But what happens is those few more years, they keep moving. Because the truth is, there is no finish line where everything suddenly feels 100% secure. There's always something. The market changes, expenses change, life happens. So you keep pushing it out. And then one day, something shifts. Maybe your health changes. Maybe your energy isn't what it used to be. Maybe someone close to you passes away and it changes how you see time. And suddenly, the question isn't, can I afford to retire? The question becomes, did I wait too long? And that's a much harder question to deal with, because you can adjust your lifestyle. You can downsize. You can find ways to make money part-time. You can be flexible financially. But you can't go back and reclaim years that are already gone. I remember talking to someone who told me, "I did everything right financially, but I missed the part where I was supposed to enjoy my life." And that stuck with me, because that's not a money problem. That's a timing problem. And timing matters more than people think. So when you look at retirement only through the lens of, do I have enough? You might be missing the bigger question, and that is, what am I giving up by waiting? Now again, I want to be very clear. This is not about being careless. It's not about ignoring reality or putting yourself in a difficult situation financially. It's about balance. It's about recognizing that there are things in life that don't wait for perfect conditions. Your health doesn't wait. Your energy doesn't wait. Your relationships don't wait. Your time definitely doesn't wait. So at some point, you have to make a decision that isn't just about money. It's about how you want to live the years you have. And sometimes that means stepping into retirement before everything feels perfectly comfortable. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. So those are the 5 reasons to consider retiring even if you feel like you can't fully afford it. Protecting your time and energy, taking care of your health, spending more time with the people who matter, reclaiming control over your life, and avoiding the regret of waiting too long. And if you really think about it, none of these are small things. These are the things that define your experience of life. Money is important, there's no question about that. But money is a tool. And if you spend your whole life protecting the tool without actually using it to live, you end up missing the point. So the goal isn't to ignore your finances. The goal is to make sure your finances are supporting your life, not delaying it. If you enjoyed this video, I think the next one you'll like is the one right here that YouTube picked out for you. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.